speaking of glorious, there's soil. More water wells. Why you no move? Pipe would be nice. So this is how I get rich clay. Just for reference, this is how I get rich clay. Rich clay has a couple of methods. It has an ash method with water to get directly. If you have a lot of ash, this would be how one should get rich clay after the early game. Because this is not a good ratio of tar into anything else. This is not a good recipe for tar to converting into these other things. Now, granted, the aromatics are nice, but there's much better ratios available through other means. This is only really a good recipe in the early game to give yourself lots of ground samples. So we now have ground samples, and we have biological samples coming in once I, give everything power. So that is the alien samples. Done-ish. Done-ish. What is next? Well, next is, of course, going to be the glorious and beautiful, I can always remember what tab we're on, the lab instruments, which the lab instruments are going to require equipment chassis, as well as the optical sets that we're making, and then rubber, small parts, and circuits. So that will be just fine. That will be just fine. And then looking at the numbers here, it is 1 and 1. And 1. Excellent. That will, work-ish. For the exception that I actually want you 2 over. Because for those who don't know, that works. That actually works. That is the maximal spacing you can have normally. Do I want to do the same thing here, though? That's a good question. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 items in. Plus I needed an item in here with an output. I guess. Alright. We'll do that, just for the sake of it, anyway. Just to say that we did the thing. Oh, boy. Alright. You see my conundrum now is I'm gonna have to shift all of this over. Right. Aromatics do not get vented. They get pitfalled. Aromatics get pitfalled through sinkholes. Where in the hell am I going to put this sinkhole that's not on my thingy? I guess there. Alright. This is so dumb. Da-da! That's one way of doing it. Alright. Sure. Sure, yeah. That sounds great. Do this. Did I really just save that from atrocity? Holy, yeah, I think I just saved it, so I don't need to do terrible things. I don't need to actually shift anything anymore. Hey, here, have some samples. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that works. That's it works. Celebration. Yes. Yay. That functions. Can't be scaled, but it functions. Do I need... You know what? No. Nah. That can be scaled a lot better. That's better. Better. Not the best, not the most ideal, but that absolutely works. Yay! This little thing is now just today deciding that it wants to keep falling off my desk. Falling off my desk as I keep moving my hand around a lot. Okay, that means I am of course going to share a belt of duralumin and tin. So I need duralumin, tin, rubber circuits, small parts, and that's it. Duralumin, tin, rubber circuits, small parts. Okay. I have some belt. From here to here. Yeah, I need some more belt. Or I will need some more belt. Here's the small parts. At least I think I might. Small parts. Brought over. All the way over. Oof. What should share? I guess it doesn't actually matter. Alright. I need the optical sets as well brought over from way over here. Hello, optical sets. Hello, beautiful optical sets. Oh yeah, and I'll need these as well. Yeah, these things are a thing that need to be brought over. Dang it. Yeah, because that gets fed right there. Good. Alright, there's that shared line. Then it's the rubber and the circuits, which is somewhat convenient because I think they're near each other. Near, but not next to. Clean this, please. Clean all of this, please. That sounds like a great idea. Yes, clean. clean the base. Always handy to have a deconstruction planner with set to trees and rocks. Just another point to make. That's one of the better ideas to have. Speaking of just general tips, by the way, because I get this very often. You push F4 to bring up the debug settings, to show FPS, to show the debug info in the tooltips, and to show the recipe icons on the map. Okay? If you didn't know this, this is vanilla. You can do this without any mods whatsoever. This is part of the base game. Just hit F4 on your keyboard. Show FPS to put the UPS counter up there. Show the debug info on the tooltips to show you the stack sizes and the recipe names and the item names and all that good stuff. And then show the recipe icons on the map, because that is so convenient. Holy hell. That should be on by default. Like, really? All this is done because otherwise it's just this. Without that on, that's what the map looks like. That tells me nothing, right? That tells you nothing. You have to put the manual icons in just by right-clicking on the map and tagging stuff. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just show recipe icons on map. Show the recipe icons, and you'll be able to see what building is doing what. People ask me these things often. And then in settings, in graphics settings, I've got decoratives off. Otherwise, it looks like this. Otherwise, it looks like this on the map. Do you see all this? What is this is messy. This is hell. This is stuff that looks like rocks that's not rocks. This is stuff that looks like rocks. This is stuff that looks like rocks that's not rocks. Okay? Do you get why I have it off? Is because you get stuff that looks like rocks that's not rocks. Thank you, Alien Biomes, for that. So yeah, just off. Off. Off is a good number. Off. Yes, off. Also, 30 is a good number for you. And then interface. Interface settings that are on. Fuzzy search, of course. Pick ghost items if no items are available. This is another one of those, like, very key settings to have on. And also, like, all the things for alt mode on. That just all the info, please, all of the info would be great. And fantastic and wonderful and all that good stuff. Yeah, pick ghost items if item is not available. That is how I can hover over the Borax Reserve, push Q, and get a copy of the Crystal Mine. That is how I can hover over an ore patch and get a copy of a mining drill. That's how that works, is because that option is enabled in the settings. And then if I don't have a DDC, I can just still push Q and get a copy of the ghost of the DDC. It's a very, very useful setting. Very, very useful setting. Anyway, just thought I'd point that out because it does get brought up pretty often in the VOD comments. People do ask about these things fairly often. Do I have enough undergrounds? That's a good question. Let's see. Nope, that's the gap. That's the gap. That's the gap. That'll do it. As for how I can tell what the spacing is, experience. There is no trick, really. It's just I've done this so many times that I know by sight what the size of the tiles is. How big the tiles are. Speaking of which, this needs to be here. Alright, that works. I think there's better ways of doing that, but that works, and that's done this way because this is the bottom line. So yeah, copper and circuits and rubber. That feeds that as the last two things. Just need duralumin and tin, and yeah, I am pretty sure I definitely need to get more belt. Tin is here. Duralumin is down here. We shall see. I might have barely enough. What's the line I'm drawing? Right here. Alright, I have barely enough. Barely. There we go. And that, just add power. Of course, I will need more belt to actually get to actually physically get the green science all the way back. And then I'll do what I did with the red science as well, and stick a chest in. So what this will do is guarantee that I'll have grain science in very large quantities once I start making blue science. In case there's a resource shortage, I'll still be able to keep doing science over time. I doubt it'll be much of an issue, but this is just one of those just-in-case situations, like right now, where I have to go back and get more belt. Well, this can just back up as much as it wants. So, hey, it's non-zero green science. Let it celebrate. Celebrations. Non-zero green science. It is that time to do all of the celebrations. All of the huzzahs shall be had on this day. We now have green science. It's stream day 5, if I'm not completely mistaken. And we are at Green Science today. I forget exactly how many stream days it took to get Green Science um, on the off the rails playthrough. I forget exactly. I don't really remember actually. Hold up. Where's I can look this up, by the way. It's off the rails. Show all. So it's 100 streams, by the way, of the off the rails playthrough. This today is stream 5. Let's go to the last page. Holy crap! It took 8 stream days to get Green Science. So hey, it's we did it a little faster, but I think in terms of time, I've spent more time this time because the off the rails stream, I didn't do anything off screen for quite a while. Uh, the early days, really early days, I don't think I really did much of anything off screen. So there was, and that was partly because I was still figuring things out after circuit automation in particular, because the furthest I had ever gotten on a Pi playthrough prior to doing the off the rails stream was, I think it was either Circuit Ones or I may have done Green Science, but had only done it the once before that. But definitely, everything after Green Science was brand spanking new to me. Um, yeah, it took 8 streams. It took 8 streams to get there. So yeah, I think definitely in terms of the streaming time, it's day 5 versus day 8 previously. But considering the scale as well, the time makes sense on this point. It's not so much about getting faster, it's just doing more in the amount of time that we've spent. Which you can say is faster, but in some sense, because I definitely didn't have a base this big at this point, at this amount of time played on the off the rails map. If you look at what it was like 35 hours into the off the rails map, we may have gotten further along in progression, but not further along in terms of raw resource output. That's what this base has, is raw resource output. I might at this point have had better like plates in some circumstances, better plate output depending on what I was doing at the time of the Pyro ores level of uh, refining of ores, but I definitely have more raw ore output by comparison at this point. And I also have a better idea of what I need at this phase of the game, the ratios of stuff that I need. Like right now, I'm very much weak on tin. That will be rectified soon. I'm very much weak on tin. That is what the bottleneck is going to be on the Green Science, for example, will be the tin. The bottleneck for going forward will actually continue to be tin, I'm pretty sure. Tin is going to be one of those early game bottlenecks. But what I do know is that a major bottleneck of the off-the-rails base was acetylene for lead and titanium. That was the number one bottlenecking thing. But I had much smaller patch sizes. I wasn't mining as much coal to get coke, and I hadn't yet come to the conclusion to start doing bio-based coal. At least I hadn't figured out decent ways of doing it yet, so I had a little bit of bio-based coal from mushrooms. It was interesting times. I've done things a lot differently, I think, on this playthrough than on the off the rails. And of course, this is going to be on the rails, so gonna have to start making actual rails at some point. Cough, cough, blink, blink, nudge, nudge. That means I'm gonna need more acetylene for lead. Just for reference, I need more lead. Lead, tin, tar, all of the above, because I will need a metric F-ton of solder. Yeah, I need hundreds of thousands of units of solder. Not joking. Hundreds of thousands of units of solder. Okay, let's... Oh, I didn't grab more undergrounds. Oops. This will go this way. Now, usually I just do one lane, but it's not going to matter because I'm not going to be bussing. I am not going to be bussing blue science. Let's make that perfectly clear. I will not be bussing blue science. Like, this is the extent of our main bus. Just to put that idea out there. This is pretty much it. I don't see any reason why it would be larger than this. I do have 3 more sets of 4, plus another lane here. So I have like 13 free lanes up to, and then however many fluids I want. Infinite number of fluids going down. So yeah, that's fine. This is definitely going to be a much smaller bus. This is a much smaller bus than the off the rails playthrough. Now, that bus on off the rails, oh boy. That one was wide. That one was very wide. Very, very wide, because I did a bus all the way through blue science. So I did a main bus build all the way up to Circuit 2's, which I will never recommend anyone actually do that. Just don't. Don't do it. It's a really bad idea. It's very resource heavy. Very resource heavy on the belt. Yeah, I will absolutely recommend doing what I'm going to be doing right now, which is oop, I went a little bit farther. Which is set up robots. Terminate the bus once you get green science and set up robots. That is exactly what I would recommend doing. Do the flow control stuff as well once you get that tech. Start getting more dedicated production of stuff. All right, there's the green science. How much do I have to wait for it to make its way down? Oh, hi. Hello, green science. Nice to see you coming down. I need another radar out there apparently. Ooh, hold up. What size is this? I may be terminating my bus at a very convenient point. Frames dropping again? Yes, it looks like some frames were dropping. Yes, frames be dropping again. How unfortunate. We have about half an hour, 36-ish minutes left in the stream, but yeah, it's going yellow right now for stream quality. Red on Twitch. It's like it says it's unstable. Oh no. I can do literally nothing about that. I mean, it's good information to have, but it's like, well, what can you do about it? Nothing. Nothing is the answer. Not when it's dipping down to 0, apparently. I just saw, glanced over and saw 0 kilobit per second bitrate. It's like, oh great. Yeah, that's freaking tastic. Do I even need agitators right now? I guess at some point. Yeah, so I have 13 lanes to work with. I'm going to need to put some of these items that are involved in circuit production onto the bus to bring down to the very end to help with the bot-based sections. Because I am going to have some bot-based sections. Fine. And I'm going to attempt to build this in such a way that it can transition into being built or being fed by the rails. I mean, that would be the ideal situation, right? Is if I can build the bot-based mall area in such a way that I can... It'll all be one bot network, for one, but it would be fed by rail. Ideally, fed by rail. And then soon enough, we should be able to start seeing tech progression. Let's get this next radar down right about there. These are medium oil patches, so I cannot tap these yet. Not for a little bit. Yeah, and the frames are dropping again. So unfortunate. So unfortunate. It was stable for a little while, but now it's back to being awful. I really am looking forward to being able to put one of these down and start feeding it and all that good stuff. All that glorious uranium. Beautiful, wonderful, glorious uranium. Also, kill this stuff for me. That'd be great. That would be great. Fantastic, magnificent. Alright. So I can't actually start doing the bots yet. And the reason why I can't start doing the bots yet is because the logistic bots are going to require lubricant. I cannot make lubricant until we get a few techs in on green science. And it's not the vanilla recipe for lubricant either that can be done these days. Because, yeah, the heavy oil lubricant recipe is now locked behind advanced oil processing, which is blue science. So instead, the only real way to get lubricant at this point will be to use desulfurizators to convert aromatics into lubricant. So that's what we're gonna do is we're gonna have aromatics into lubricant to feed the production of the Logibots. We can start, however, making construction bots. In fact, I have everything I need, technically, to start the construction bots. However, they're going to need this stuff known as solder. Solder time.